What happens when the rank comes off? When the title disappears, the structure changes, and the role that helped define you for decades is suddenly gone. For a lot of veterans and leaders, that transition can hit deeper than expected. You're not just leaving a job, you're leaving a system that told you where you belong and what was expected of you, as well as sometimes even who you were. And that's where the pivot begins. Not by pretending the old chapter didn't matter, but by deciding what you carry forward, what you leave behind, and who's willing to become and what you're willing to become next. Today's conversation is about identity, the first silent war, and the power of the pivot. How to turn uncertainty, transition, and even self-doubt into the beginning of a stronger next chapter.
Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Nico Johnson is a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant with 28 years of service. He served as a First Sergeant, Command First Sergeant, and Commandant of the Air Force First Sergeant Academy. Nico is the founder and CEO of First Class Leadership Group, and he's a keynote speaker, executive coach, leadership consultant, and the author of what we're going to talk about today, The Power of Pivots. His work helps people turn confidence, purpose, resilience, and authentic leadership into meaningful action. Nico, super excited to have you on the show. Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality. Tell us a little more about yourself, if you will.
Sure. First of all, thanks, Mike. I appreciate being on here. I appreciate all you do for military and veterans, brother. That's a big deal, and very much appreciated. As you mentioned, someone who has served 28 years in the United States Air Force, I know how important it is just to have that support. People that appreciate us, people that pour into us, and people that appreciate the service that we commit to this country and to this world, and who's willing to pour back into us. So first off, I want to say thank you and appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you.
And so to answer your question, I would say first, I'm a family man. I mean, that's just who I am. That's what I do. I've always wanted a big loving family. Just the traditional what it looks like. You got a husband, a wife, you got a bunch of children running around, a nice house, and you're just going out and doing beautiful things. I always wanted that as a kid. And so when I became an adult, that was my goal, and that's still my goal. And I've got a bunch of kids, a wife and a bunch of kids. Been married to my beautiful wife, Rondi, for over 18 years now. I've got 5 children, even got 3 little grandchildren running around here. But so I'm a family man first before I can't say before the leader, because as a family man, I am a leader. But before the keynotes, before the workshops, before the chief rank, before the retired Air Force, I'm husband, I'm father, I'm grandfather. So I believe leadership starts in the home. Leadership starts with the individual, and that's what I am, and I'm grateful to be able to do that and pour into others as well. And I took that from my personal life into my career and adapted what I did from my career. Now I'm making another transition to continue doing what I do with First Class Leadership Group. I'm continuing to lead, to encourage, to program, to develop, to just pour into individuals and organizations in any way I can when it comes to developing human beings. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And again, look forward to having a great discussion with you today.
Absolutely love it. And 2 things, man. I'm glad. I'm super happy your dream came true, and you're still moving forward with that dream. And you do not look old enough to have 3 grandkids.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, brother. So
once I grow this out, you may change your opinion a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I know some white starts coming in there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it, man. So you became a father at 17, entered the Air
Yes.
Force unsure of yourself, and eventually became a Chief Master Sergeant.
Yeah.
Looking back, which pivots changed what you believed was possible for yourself?
Oh man. Well, yes,
I know, right?
becoming a father yeah, right. Becoming a father at 17, and that's another reason I may not look like I have grandkids because I started pretty early. Started early, and then my child had babies in her early 20s. But oh man, just that pivot. I'll say the first things first. Even staying right there at becoming a father at 17, I was terrified.
Mm,
This wasn't part of the plan that Nico had with growing up, getting married, and having this big family. This was just me being a product of my environment,
right.
and I ran from it. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
wish I could say we planned this thing. It was happy. I was happy, and no, I ran from it. For the entire pregnancy, I ran from it until one day my mother intercepted a phone call, and she was like, "Oh no, well, you're not about to do this. You're not doing this. Get in this car and let's take a ride."
Thank you,
And took
Mama.
me over there, right? Thanks, mom. Took me over there to the young lady's house, made me have a good conversation with her, and encouraged me to man up and handle my business. And deep down, that's what I wanted to do, but I
Uh-huh.
was afraid of my family's judgment. I was
Mm,
afraid of what was going to happen once they found out that I had done this thing and had a whole human being that I produced. And once I had my mother's support, I went back to my default self and said, "Hey, I know what I need to do." And that was really the first major pivot for me. I was working at a car wash, and then I eventually left there and went to another place where I can try to make a few more dollars.
sure.
Eventually, I decided to leave there and started speaking with recruiters, and found my long story short, found myself into the military. But it all started with I got to man up and be a father to this child. I didn't get my dad every day. I love him, loved him. We had a great relationship before he passed away, but he wasn't there every day, and he wasn't able to be the father he wanted to be for us because he was dealing with his own issues of trying to become a man. And so we connected later as an adult. We had a closer relationship, but I wanted to be there for my children, and so wanting to take that responsibility is really what was that first major pivot for me. And it was the encouragement and the support of my mother, and then me wanting to be a better father to my children. And that's where it started.
I absolutely love it, man. So, you know, when you look back, and I do this a lot to myself and my guests. So when you look back at those things that
Mhm.
you thought were going to be horrific or weren't
Mm,
ready for, and all those things, I'm a true believer that most people are doing the best they can for who they are, where they are, right?
yes,
Until you know
absolutely.
better. And I think you can look back, and know I can, lots of times of, oh man, I can't believe I did that. But oh, what did I learn from that? And it made me who I am now, and I'm proud of that.
100%.
Yeah, I
100%.
just love that story. Thank you for being vulnerable, first of all, and sharing it.
Yes, sir.
But I think it's super important for people to learn. So, amen,
It is,
amen.
and I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Mom.
Right. Appreciate my mom.
Oh man, oh man. You know, it's funny that our thoughts, and I'm totally getting off topic just for a second, but
All good.
our thoughts in the moment are our reality, right? So you
Right.
thought that everybody was going to be upset and not accepting of things, and then you found out differently, and that's when your reality changed. So I love that, man.
100%. Love the way you put that. Love the way
Yeah,
you put it.
thank you. So let's go to another question. You
Sure.
started your Air Force career as an HVAC technician. So at what
HVAC.
HVAC, yes. At what point did you realize the skills you were building weren't just preparing you for the next rank? They were really kind of maybe changing your identity as a leader.
Yeah, so I have this funny saying. Somebody said it to me one day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still in that." You and I had a conversation earlier. You're just like, "I'm still in that." You know,
Still in the
I used to fix systems. Now I fix people. Same concept, but they're just wired a little differently. I
amen,
love it.
amen,
I
amen. I
love it.
love that, man.
I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I don't fix people, but you get what I'm
You
saying.
give them the skills to fix
Uh,
themselves. Absolutely.
Give them the skills to fix themselves. I encourage them, but I love the way somebody put that, so I
Yeah,
had to steal it from them.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
yeah, Mike, as an HVAC technician, I had to learn quickly that as I'm as I'm responding to these issues, as I respond to that call, I cannot react to the first symptom of that
Mm,
system. Whether if I show up and the fan is not running and I go in there and swap out the fan and say, hey, we're good, we may still have the same problem, right? I had to learn quickly to diagnose the entire system.
yeah.
What may be causing that fan to not run? What it could be a completely different issue than what you're seeing on that symptom. People said, hey, my fan is broke. There's no air blowing into this house. But I had to learn to go there and not just swap out parts, not just say it's good to go and trip the breaker back on, right? Not just make sure we restored power. I had to make sure everything was running, that each one component affects another one when you talk about electrical systems and HVAC systems. So I had to learn to diagnose the entire system. And really the same goes with leadership. You got to learn to diagnose the person. You got to learn to diagnose the person. So as I became a supervisor and as I became a work crew leader and as I became a senior enlisted leader, it was the same concept. Somebody
Mhm.
shows up and they're not themselves today, or their performance is not what it needs to be. I mean, it may not always be, I don't understand how to read this wiring diagram. It may not always be, I don't know how to fix this aircraft. It may be, I don't believe in myself.
Mm,
I don't trust the leadership in this organization. I don't have a lot of confidence. Maybe that conflict over there is because you don't know how to communicate with that personality. So there's so many different things, so many pressures. I'm nervous, or maybe I'm having a problem at home and I'm taking it out on you today. So the difference is, they say people don't come with wiring diagrams. I don't know. Maybe they do. There's so many different personality assessments out there. You've got DISC, you've got Five Voices, you've got all these skills finders, so many different things that tells us about ourselves and that can help us understand others as well. So as I matriculated through my career and I had to lead these work crews, and then eventually I had to train students as HVAC technicians, I had to apply all of that because it went so much further beyond the troubleshooting lab. And this was
right.
this was people development. And that's where early in my career, between years 6 and 10, I started developing that leadership concept.
Absolutely love it. And it's funny because my opinion is our brains are somewhat similar unless there's drugs or alcohol or brain
Mm,
injury or something like that, right? So the wiring's
right.
there. It's our belief systems and our experiences that generally change our
That's it.
perception. Yeah.
That's it.
So I love that you said that. So I really want to dive into your book.
Yes.
I'm ready
Let's
for
do it.
this. So your book is called The Power of Pivots. Um,
Yes.
how do you know when life is asking you to pivot versus when fear is simply telling you to walk away from something difficult? And everybody,
Mm.
please listen to this because it is huge and it's going to be a life-changing answer. So no pressure though.
Sure. Right. Right.
but it's
Absolutely.
but it's so true because so many people let fear get in the way instead of, never mind, I'm going to let you answer the question. I was starting to go. So again, how do you know when life is asking you to pivot versus when fear is simply telling you to walk away?
That is a great question because both of them typically involve discomfort. Is this life telling me to pivot? Am I just afraid right now and life is telling me something else? Both of them require discomfort and both of them is going to require forward action. And honestly, most often you will not know until you take that action and find out on the backside. Oh, it was it was actually time for me to pivot, or I was just afraid to. Matter of fact, there's a mutual benefit either way you go. As long as you move forward, you have to
Yeah,
walk through it. You got to find out. You can sit here and guess the entire time and hope things work out, or hope something finally changes, or you can just step into that pivot. You can step into that fear, and you're gonna grow through it either way. So I say, just move forward, find out. And usually, in your mind, there's something in you that's telling you, I'm not the same anymore. I've grown. Maybe I've outgrown this environment. Maybe I've outgrown this conversation. I have outgrown these habits. There's something internal that is telling you. It can be God. It can be the situation, someone that's pushing you away. Something is telling you that you have outgrown that moment, that situation, those circumstances, that rank, whatever that friend, that relationship. There's a
absolutely.
silent pivot. There's actually a chapter in my book called The Silent Pivots as well. But it is telling you, you feel it before it even happens. But usually, to the second part of your question, it's that fear that keeps us from moving forward. It keeps us from experiencing that challenge, and it keeps us from widening our comfort zone. There's the saying that we need to step outside of our comfort zone. I think we need to enlarge that comfort zone, right?
Mm.
Because the more we do those things that make us uncomfortable, eventually that's going to be part of the comfort zone. So we're just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So those things that require you to enlarge your comfort zone aren't always comfortable. So I would say step forward with it, and you'll find out whether that was fear talking or whether it was time for an actual pivot. But either way, there's going to be benefits on the other side of that action.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was taking the notes. I wrote that down because I'm stealing that shit.
It's yours.
Enlarge your comfort zone, because it's so true, right?
That's
I
it.
mean,
That's
go
it.
back again in life, and not just you, but our listeners, and I know I relate to that. How many times are we like, oh shit, oh, I can't do that, oh, I shouldn't do that, I'm scared to do that. And what is it? Fear of rejection, fear of failure, right? Generally.
Right.
And fear of
Right.
rejection is generally the number one human condition that we run from.
That's it.
So, you know, I'm just going to use the podcast, for instance, but I could go through 40,000 different things in my life. You know, when I first thought about starting a podcast, it was, you know, what did I want and the why, right? I wanted to help veterans because of the struggles of my father and so on. And so
Right.
that overran, or, you know, to give me the leverage to take that action, that consistent action, which actually gives you the results. So
Right.
I think it's so important for you to do exactly that. Just take the action. It doesn't have to be big, but just take a small action out of your comfort
Easy
zone,
step.
because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And here's the other thing, right, Nico? And I want to get some
Mhm.
feedback from you is
Sure.
when you push yourself,
Mhm.
and I even say you're pulled towards something bigger or doing something and enlarging your comfort zone, if you will, it's so rewarding
Yes.
when you move
Yes.
past, and then everything else that's easier. When you look back at 5 years, 2 years yesterday of dealing with a difficult situation, but you dealt with it and it all worked
Mhm.
out because you pivoted and you made it happen.
Right.
It just gets easier and easier and easier because you are
It does.
enlarging your comfort zone. So I love that you said that. Talk a little bit more about that, if you will.
Yeah, so absolutely 100%. So the first thing, you got to commit that you're gonna challenge yourself, right? We're ready to grow, we're ready to be different, we're ready to be better. You got to
Mm.
commit, and I use what we call C4. C4. The first thing, you got to make a commitment. I'm going to commit to this action. I'm going to commit to developing myself so that I can just get better, or so that I can develop others. I can be a better person, a better spouse, a better employee, a better business owner, a better servant, whatever it is that you do. Commitment, that's number one. As you commit to that thing, even if it scares you, just say, I'm going to do it. You commit to that thing, the more that you do it, you're going to gain competence at that thing.
Yeah.
And as you get more competent, you're going to realize eventually you're a subject matter expert. People are calling you or emailing you or texting you, asking you how to do that thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that thing? So you committed to it. You became competent at that thing. Next thing you know, the third C, now my confidence is through the roof. This thing that once terrified me, now people are calling me and asking me how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? So now my confidence is sky high. I committed to it. I gained competence. My confidence has shot high. Now I'm curious. That is the fourth C. I'm curious. What else can I do? Can I do more now? Now my desire to step out into the discomfort, my desire to expand my comfort zone is even higher now, because I have a track record that I committed to this thing. I learned it and did a pretty good job. I became confident at that thing where I can do it unconsciously now. Now my curiosity is piqued. What else can I do? Who else can I develop? How else can I grow? And that's how I see it. I don't even know if I answered your question, Mike. I got on my little train there.
I don't know. I was just in the moment with you, brother. Yeah, you did. I believe you did. So, and look back at when you started driving, right?
Yes.
You were probably scared. You're like, oh crap, where's the key? How do I turn on the lights, the windshield wipers, all this stuff, right? But as you did it now, just like Nico said, it just happens naturally, because you literally, how many times have you driven somewhere and been like, how did I get here so fast? Because you're
Right.
just automatically doing it. It's the same principle.
Autopilot.
Yeah,
Autopilot.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, man. So for 28 years, Rank gave you authority, responsibility, and a clear place in an organization. And so many veterans deal with this. And this is why I want to bring this up. Top performers in transition. I mean, all of it. When the
Yeah.
rank comes off, how do you separate who you became from the position that helped shape you?
Oh, wow. So there's a couple of different directions I can go with this.
We have
Um,
time, brother. Go.
I- you know, I would say first off, the things that you did, the habits that you developed, the life that you lived to earn that rank,
Mhm.
especially if you did it the right way, all of that still matters. All of it still matters. You transition that into what you do now. You took the uniform off, but the discipline is still there. The character is still there. Those communication skills, especially if you made it a little far here, in this service. So to all the veterans out there, everything that you learned in the military can be applied on the outside. It's just navigating and finding your way and finding your specific lane. You all have unique, specialized gifts. We all do as human beings, and
Mhm.
it's aligning that experience with your skill set, with an organization or a career or a business, if you decide to start one for yourself, that allows you to operate in that strength, operate in that skill, or further develop that strength, that skill set, whatever that may be. Um, there is an adjustment, especially if you become a leader, a supervisor, or even a senior leader. You get used to getting the red carpet treatment when you walk through a door or when you attend a ceremony or something like that. There is an adjustment, but the biggest message for all of us is that this train stops for no one. This
Mhm.
train is bigger than any one person. Where from the top general in the United States, the chief staff of the Air Force, all the way down to the lowest ranking airman in the Air Force, or whatever branch you serve in, whatever organization you serve in. When you move out of the way, somebody else is going to step in, take that role, and keep that organization running forward. That is no disrespect to you and what you've done. You could have inspired and impacted thousands or millions of people and left an amazing legacy. But if that train stops when you leave, then you haven't done a good job in the first place, because that
Mm.
means you haven't put anyone in position to take over when you step away. That's the bigger piece. So for my veterans out there who are feeling like they've lost the rank, they've lost the position, if that organization is still thriving and doing well when you leave, pat yourself on the back because you contributed to that. You did an amazing job, and you can help someone else do the same thing, or another organization do the same thing. So that's the way I would encourage my fellow veterans. Yes, the rank is different. These civilian streets it's a different beast out here. People
Yes.
don't just bow down or say yes sir, yes ma'am because they have to. But what if they did it because they choose to?
Mm.
What if they want to follow you? So let's look within first. Let's develop ourselves. Or if I can help you, let me help you develop yourself, or someone else, and pour into you, develop the things that you need so that people will want to be a part of you, will still want to follow you and be influenced by you. I'll shut up right there, Mike.
No, you know what? Again, that's absolutely just perfectly said, because so often, and again, it's veterans, it's top performers, leaders.
Mm,
When you change and go into a different culture, if you will, whether that be from military to civilian, or from one corporate company to a different one, or whatever the case may be, the
hmm.
skill sets and the leadership is still there. All of those things are still inside of it. And it's one of
It's
the
there.
things that I see forgotten the fastest,
Right.
because the world spins, right? You get in the spin cycle, if you will, of life, or a new company, or again, civilian life. And they you I've seen more often than not people, I'm not going to say going into a panic, but just being
Sure.
lost.
Right. Right.
Oh, see, I
And
just got chills. So I know that was real.
it's tough, brother. And the thing is, it's easy to get caught up in your rank, your position, wherever it is that you're serving. If you're in a position of high influence, it's easy. When people are serving you, it's easy for that rank or that position, even the uniform itself, to
Mhm.
become your identity.
Yeah.
But when you're aware, when you're alert, when you know what can become of that and how that
Mhm.
can lead you down a negative path, and you prioritize your character over that rank, over that position, you prioritize authentic leadership, it's going to put you on a whole different track, on an entirely different track. So that's something that we need to make sure we're pouring into the up and coming leaders that are coming behind us, whether you're a veteran or you're currently active and serving, or you're civilian leading in any organization. That's something we need to help our people understand so that that transition can be easier for them and for all of us.
Absolutely. I want to Joseph McClendon III is one of my mentors. And, he always says, you just need to remember who you are.
Mm,
So you can take that forward,
I love it.
yeah, it's so true, because we forget so often when we're not living with intention, when we don't have that goal, we don't have that thing we're, being pulled toward for fulfillment, so I really love you said that, man. How much time we got? Okay, we only have about 5 minutes left. This flew by. So I'm throwing the rest of the questions out the window. Let's talk about your book specifically.
Okay.
So tell us about, the book. Well, first of all, for people that aren't familiar with pivoting, I mean, most people I think are, that's why I didn't bring this up earlier. What is pivoting?
Got it. That is when you make a change of direction in your life. That's how I see it. I listen to a lot of podcasts and things of that nature, and there was one called The Pivot. It's a sports podcast, and they would always ask a question, what's the biggest pivot in your life? And as I was sitting there one day trying to answer that question, I said, man, I can't choose one. There's so many. My life has had so many ups and downs, so many roller coasters, so many pivots. I said, you know what? I think I want to write about that. So as I started thinking about and remembering all these different stories in my life, that's how I came up with the concept of the book, The Power of Pivots. Something happens to you, something happens for you, something happens in you, and a change can happen. You can stay where you are and continue, even if you're successful. There's still other pivots for us. You can stay where you are and remain comfortable. You can stay where you are, remain uncomfortable, or you can make that pivot and get the most out of what's in you. I believe in what I call the GEM concept, GEM. I call it grow, elevate, and multiply. And a pivot is when you can grow as an individual. That's going to elevate you as a leader and put you in a position to multiply your impact to more than just yourself. So a pivot is having that ability to grow, elevate, and multiply your impact, whatever that may be, that relationship, that career, your spiritual life, your finances, whatever that may be. And I decided to take personal stories from my life, apply the pivot concept, apply the elevate, multiply concept, and challenge the readers to take action on each chapter at the end of each chapter of the book, because that's what's most important. You can read the book, you hear some cool stories, but if you're not applying, if you're not taking action, then you're not going to be able to get the most out of your pivots in life.
And I'm just going to throw it in there, knowledge isn't power unless you use it.
Unless you use it.
Yeah. And that's what's happening, in the world today. In my opinion, again, is there's so much information out there, and people are just getting analysis paralysis, right? They're getting all the information and scroll the next, but they don't put that into action. And that's literally the difference of what changes your life. Talk about that just for a minute, if you will.
So putting that knowledge into action?
Yes.
Yes, and that goes right back, to what I was saying earlier. As a matter of fact, I gave you a C4 formula. You commit, you gain competence, you gain confidence, and then you're curious on what more you can do. However, we are human beings, and every once in a while, our brain is going to betray us. Our anxieties will betray us. We know what we need to do. We know we need to take action, but we don't. And what I love to say is confidence is built through action. I've got all that knowledge, but until I use it, until I put it into action, then I won't do anything. I won't grow. I won't develop. I won't show my children or the people who I have influence over. So first things first, you got to acknowledge. I'm throwing another acronym at you, ACT, ACT. Right? First thing, you got to acknowledge those negative emotions. I am scared right now. I'm afraid to take that next step. Or I've got some anxiety. I'm upset. I'm pissed off, whatever the case may be. Acknowledge the negative emotion. All right. Then you're going to choose to move forward anyway and maintain the standard that you set before those negative emotions try to take over. So I'm going to acknowledge the negative emotion. I'm going to choose to move forward anyway. And then I'm going to take action. It's time to move forward. So you got a formula in place for any time you need to act and you're afraid or you don't want to, or you're upset or you're frustrated, your emotions are taking over. Acknowledge, choose, take action. Let's move forward and get the most out of this life, Mike.
Absolutely love it, brother. I mean, that sums it up, right? So Anytime you're thinking about ACT, I'm going to throw in one. DIN, do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now, because if it's a month from now, you're not going to remember it, and life will move on, man. So I absolutely love what you said, man. Nico, for everyone listening who connected with your story, I know I did for sure. What's the best way for them to learn more about First Class Leadership Group, book you to speak or coach, follow you, or of course get a copy of The Power of Pivots?
Absolutely. Everything can be done through my website. It is nicojohnson.com. That is NECOJOHNSON.com. You can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Nico Johnson First Class Leadership. I'm on Instagram, Nico Johnson First Class Leadership. I'm on YouTube, Nico Johnson First Class Leadership. I'm on TikTok, Nico Johnson First Class Leadership. But my website is the one-stop shop. You want to book me, you want to train, you want to speak, you just want to have a conversation and discover how we can serve each other, nicojohnson.com. And I'd love to speak with you and grow with you.
Absolutely love it, man. As we know, time is the most precious resource we have as human beings. We don't get it back. Nico, thank you so much for spending this moment in time to help our mission and make a difference, truly.
Thank you. And I just want to encourage everyone, always stay ready for your next pivot. Step forward. Let's go. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate time, brother.
Absolutely. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, there's a lot that we just went through. That was fantastic in my opinion. I mean, I'm pumped. Don't just move on the next thing. Sit with it for a minute. Why did it affect you? Why were you connected to it? Just sit with it for a minute. And of course, if you know someone who needs to hear this, share the episode with them. It's super important to spread this information of good information out there. So please share that. You can also join us at yourthoughtsyourreality.com, where we continue these conversations around identity, transition, resilience, and growth. And remember, your thoughts shape your reality. We're out of here.
Cool. I'll take care.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.